All right, the oven is preheating for my lunch. So at some point during this video, there'll probably be a beep. That's my oven preheated and telling me it's ready to put some food in the oven. Okay, so I was in the middle of this article titled "For Muslims, a Role in the War on Terror." Okay. This is by Mamoun Fandi. Okay. And if a mosque is used as a place to plan attacks or to shield the perpetrators, Muslims should withdraw the name of that mosque, meaning it can no longer serve its holy purpose. It has been desecrated by such evil. The terrorists of Leeds, Britain, allegedly cooked their plots to bomb London inside a mosque, putting signs outside the door that they were praying. Praying for what? For God or for Satan? God said that those who spread destruction on earth should be punished, and that their hands and legs should be cut off. Whoa! A metaphor for the severity of the punishment. Yet some Muslims continue to cheer bin Laden. The unspoken message sent to him is that you are doing to the West what we want done. I got some annoying neighbors outside my window. Where was I? You are doing to the West what we want done. Unless extreme pressure is applied on Muslims all over the world to come up with counter fatwas, little will happen in Muslim communities to fight terrorism. Unless we speak up, Muslims will appear in the eyes of the world as providing tacit support for terrorists. I have talked with many Muslims, especially in the West, who in public condemn violent acts, but in private conversations say the West deserves this. In public, they will say it is a revenge for Palestine and Iraq, but in private, I hear blind hatred, a virus that is taking over too many Muslim minds. Only two things can stop terrorism: serious counter fatwas from all Muslims to excommunicate bin Laden and his supporters, and a more skeptical eye in the West for Islamists who say one thing while advocating another. There are no moderate Islamists that I have seen. There are ordinary Muslims who are living decent lives, and there are terrorists or would-be terrorists. Mamoun Fandi is a senior fellow of Middle East and Islamic politics at Baker Institute at Rice University. Scientists find errors in global warming data. Satellites gave temps for nights, not daytime. A matter of degrees. The estimated rise in global temperatures by 2100 if greenhouse gas emissions continue to increase. Oh, the year 2100. So in this graph here, it's got the increase 1.4 degrees in 2010 and 7.3 degrees. So that's the increase, and that's by 2100. Well, this might be interesting. Satellite and weather balloon research released today removes a last bastion of scientific doubt about global warming, researchers say. Surface temperatures have shown small but steady increases since the 1970s, but the tropics had shown little atmospheric heating and even some cooling. Now, after sleuthing reported in 3 papers released by the journal Science, revisions have been made to that atmospheric data. Climate expert Ben Santer of Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California, lead author of one of the papers, says that those fairly steady measurements in the tropics have been a key argument among people asking, why should I believe this global warming hocus pocus? After examining the satellite data collected since 1979 by National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration weather satellites, Carl Mears and Frank Wentz of Remote Sensing Systems in Santa Rosa, California, found that the satellites had drifted in orbit, throwing off the timing of temperature measures. Essentially, the satellites were increasingly reporting nighttime temperatures as daytime ones, leading to a false cooling trend. The team also found a math error in the calculations. Our hats are off to them. They found a real source of error, says atmospheric scientist John Christie of the University of Alabama at Huntsville, whose team produced the lower temperature estimates. When examining the balloon data, Yale University researchers found that heating from tropical sunlight was skewing the temperatures reported by sensors, making nights look as warm as days. Once corrected, the satellite and balloon temperatures align with other surface and upper atmosphere measures, as well as climate change models, Santer says. Global warming's pace over the past 30 years has actually been quite slow, a total increase of about 1 degree Fahrenheit. It is predicted to accelerate in this century. Mark Herlong of the George C. Marshall Institute declined to comment. The group, financed by the petroleum industry, has used the data disparities to dispute the views of global warming activists. In recent years, however, the Institute has softened its public statements, acknowledging that the planet is indeed getting warmer, but still maintaining that the change is happening so slowly that the impact is minimal. All right, here's a photo of a shuttle. Gearing up, Space Shuttle Atlantis is rolled to the Vehicle Assembly Building last month at Cape Canaveral. September shuttle launch said unlikely. Cause of foam debris remains unclear, NASA manager says. 2 days after Space Shuttle Discovery returned safely from orbit, a top NASA official said the next flight probably won't launch as planned next month because engineers still don't know why potentially hazardous foam debris fell off Discovery's fuel tank. NASA grounded the shuttles after seeing debris during Discovery's ascent. If Shuttle Atlantis doesn't lift off next month, its next chances to make it to orbit are November 7th through the 10th, then in March. We're going to have to make some modifications to the tank, so that probably puts the September launch window into a not very likely possibility, said William Gerstenmaier, foam investigation leader. He said there are some tantalizing leads, but no final conclusions on why foam was lost from 5 places on the tank. Discovery suffered no harm from the falling foam, but in 2003, shuttle Columbia crumbled during its trip home. Oh. Killing all 7 aboard? What? I don't remember hearing about this. Killing all 7 aboard because of damage done during launch by foam debris. Wow. Though it has the texture of packing peanuts, the foam hit Columbia at the equivalent of 545 miles per hour, packing a lethal punch. Last week, NASA Administrator Michael Griffin said the September 22nd through the 25th launch window was within reach. I don't presume the worst, Griffin said. I like to go where the data takes me. Word of a likely delay came a day after a jubilant crowd of more than 700 people welcomed Discovery's 7 crew members back to their home base in Houston. Their 14-day mission that ended Tuesday was packed with firsts, from the thorough inspection of the shuttle's exterior to a spacewalk to repair the heat shield. The persistent foam problem has put the shuttle program in a bind. A delay in Atlantis' flight would put even more pressure on an already tight schedule. Griffin wants to retire the aging spacecraft. Okay, Alvin. Where was I? A delay in Atlantis' flight would put even more pressure on an already tight schedule. Griffin wants to retire the aging spacecraft in 2010. He also wants to finish building the International Space Station, which is made of components that only the shuttle is big enough to carry. The International Space Station. Yeah, I remember finding out about that. I think I found out about it when I was watching the show Eureka. So, because I didn't follow the space news, I don't know how there's been an International Space Station out in space, which is amazing. I wasn't aware of that when that happened. That's pretty neat that there's a space station out in space. The Columbia accident halted station construction, which is set to resume on the flight after Atlantis. After the 2003 accident, NASA's then chief, Sean O'Keefe, and others vowed to ensure that large pieces of foam wouldn't come off the tank again. More than 2 years of effort reduced the amount that fell off Discovery's fuel tank, but didn't stop it completely. Gerstenmaier said there's probably a different explanation for why each piece of foam peeled off the tank. He said NASA would try to learn each reason, but probably could not prevent small amounts of foam from coming loose. The biggest piece of debris, a 1-pound chunk that came off a ridge of foam known as the PAL ramp, was large enough to have caused catastrophe if it had hit the shuttle. Gerstenmaier said a repair to that site was probably a contributing factor, but not enough by itself to cause the breakage. In another spot, engineers believe a wire provided a pathway for liquid nitrogen inside the tank to seep into the foam. When the shuttle lifted off, the nitrogen could have warmed and turned into a gas whose expansion could have blown bits of foam off the tank. Wow. Okay, time to put my food in the oven.